welcome to Indian Drives. My name is Yash and I welcome you to another episode of our SWOT Analysis, where I review cars based on its strengths and weaknesses, finding opportunities for the manufacturers to make the cars better and looking at the threat that it faces from its rivals. In this episode of SWOT Analysis, we review the latest hot hatch from the Hyundai India, the i20 N-Line. If you are visiting our channel for the first time, do consider subscribing to us so you do not miss out on such interesting automotive content that comes to you every week. So without any further ado, let's just begin with our SWOT analysis review. We'll start off with the strengths of the i20 N-Line, and the first strength of the car would be its punchy engine. The i20 N-Line is packed with a 1-litre 3-pot engine which generates 118 horsepower and 172 Newton meters of peak torque. Although this is not the full bonkers end spec of the Hyundai N-Line, yet it is more punchier than the standard turbo petrol engine of the i20. The engine has a strong mid-range and pulls up to 6000 RPMs. The 1-litre 3-pot engine is offered with 2 gearbox options, a 7-speed dual clutch transmission and a 6-speed IMT gearbox. However, calling this a hot hatch without a clutchless manual gearbox is an unforgivable sin in an enthusiast's eye. Hyundai being Hyundai, its engine is capable of delivering a dynamic and sporty driving experience behind the wheels while delivering a claimed fuel efficiency of 20.25 kilometers per litre. So good news for young enthusiasts who are looking out for a fuel efficient yet punchy motor. The i20 N-Line's next strength would be its sporty N-Line touches. The i20 N-Line greets you with the sporty red highlights around the cabin to remind you of the variant you have bought. The cabin gets tasteful, striking N-Line touches like the 3-spoke steering wheel with the N logo and weighted gear knobs for the manual transmission and a perforated leather gear knob with the N logo in the automatic transmission. You also get checkered red flag design on the leather seats with red stitchings all around the seats in the cabin. The N-Line's next strength would be its contemporary design. Now things get interesting on the exterior as they are in the interiors. The i20 N-Line gets a contemporary design language as compared to the Volkswagen Polo GT. The exterior is a mix of smooth flowing contour and sharp-edged lines running along the fenders and the side body panels. The sporty red highlights are perfectly placed on the exterior body panels and are not at all an overkill. In my personal opinion, the rear end of the i20 N-Line is more beautiful to look at than the dipping front end. The dual-tip exhaust and the rear diffuser make it look more of a hot hatch than it actually is. The i20 N-Line's last strength would be its modern features. The i20 N-Line's ace in the deck would be its extensive list of features that the Volkswagen Polo misses out on. The N-Line gets wireless charging pad with cooling function, a 7-speaker Bose sound system, and a voice-enabled sunroof. Now with all the features, the sunroof is definitely the cherry on top, but however, it does increase the pricing of the i20 N-Line. Now that we're aware of all the strengths of the i20 N-Line, let's have a look at few of its weaknesses. The i20 N-Line's one of the biggest weakness would be that it does not come with a manual gearbox. Now launching it as a rival to the Volkswagen Polo GT TSI, Hyundai should have done their homework well, as they have gone wrong with the approach of a clutchless IMT in the i20 N-Line. The i20 N-Line is supposed to be a hot hatch, but without a conventional manual gearbox, it's just a manual for the namesake. The N-Line's next weakness would be its initial turbo lag. The 1-litre 3-pot motor with the DCT gearbox does have a noticeable turbo lag in the initial rev range, and it only picks up pace when driven hard in the mid-range. This does increase the fuel efficiency of the i20 N-Line but takes away the hotness of the hot hatch. The N-Line's another weakness would be that it is slower than the Volkswagen Polo GT TSI. The i20 N-Line should really thank Volkswagen for ditching the DSG gearbox, as even with the DCT gearbox, the i20 N-Line just manages to beat the GT TSI by a small margin. And in fact, the manual Polo GT TSI still beats the i20 N-Line in a 0 to 100 timing. So that really puts a big question mark on the i20 N-Line, that whether it is hot enough to convince the young petrol heads to turn their heads away from the Polo GT. And lastly, its last weakness would be that it's pricier than its competitors. The i20 N line indeed has a long list of features when compared to the Polo GT, but at a premium. And considering it is slower than its only competitor, the Polo GT, the pricing really plays an important role. A competitive pricing similar to the Polo GT would have been bang on for the Hyundai motors. Now that we've seen both the strengths and the weaknesses of the i20 N line, let's have a look at few opportunities that can make the i20 N line better in the future. Now, the first thing that the Hyundai motors can add into the i20 N line to make it more exciting is a conventional 6-speed manual gearbox. A 6-speed manual gearbox will definitely enhance the driving experience and even manage to clock a better 0 to 100 timing as compared to the Polo GT TSI. Secondly, the i20 N line can come with an upgraded tire setup. The current stock CAT 195mm tire setup just isn't ideal for this hot hatch. So it should ideally be offered with an upgraded tire setup in the future. Hyundai can also reduce the turbo lag in this 1-liter 3-pot engine, as that will definitely enhance the performance and the driving experience of this engine, and also it will then beat the Volkswagen Polo GT TSI, which is the only competitor of the i20 N line. And although the i20 N line has an extensive list of features, there are 2 features that can be added into the car to make it that one perfect hot hatch. Those features are auto rain sensing wipers and rear split folding seats. Now usually in the SWOT analysis review, we usually have 3 to 4 cars in the threat section which pose serious threat to the car being reviewed. But in the case of i20 N line, we just have one competitor which we have been mentioning since the start of this video, which is the Volkswagen Polo GT TSI. Now without a doubt, the Volkswagen Polo GT TSI is known for being the hot hatch in the segment, for being the only hot hatch available in our country on a budget. It is one of the quickest cars that can be bought from the showroom at its price range, and considering the fact that it is completely tuner friendly and there are a lot of bolt-on mods that are available for the Polo GT TSI, that makes it a lot more popular amongst the young enthusiasts. The earlier generation of the 1.2-liter TSI with the TSG gearbox was considered as a legend in the hot hatch segment, and in fact it still retains its value in the used car market and has a special place in the hearts of young petrol heads. So to conclude this SWOT analysis review of the i20 N line, I can say that if you are in the market looking for a modern hot hatch with the right amount of performance and fuel efficiency with a long list of modern features, then definitely you can consider the i20 N line, but keep in mind it does come at a premium as compared to the standard i20 and even the hot hatch, the Polo GT TSI. But on the other hand, if you are objectively looking at it from a petrol head and an enthusiast perspective, who really wants the maximum performance from the engine and is really looking after the driving experience, then definitely I guess you will be inclined towards the Polo GT TSI, no matter how many features it might miss out as compared to the i20 N line. So at the end, the ball is really in your court and you have to decide whether you are looking out for a practical, new, fuel-efficient hot hatch or the OG among the hot hatches, the Polo GT TSI. That's it on this week's SWOT analysis. If you like our content, please like this video and share it amongst your petrolhead friends, and do consider subscribing to us so you do not miss out on such content that comes to you every week.